Lilith conjunct planets in Synastry. Lilith conjunctions can create one particularly frustrating dynamic. The other person condemns Lilith for qualities they tolerate, justify, or even celebrate within themselves. And that's where the projection begins. Lilith conjunct the ascendant. The ascendant person may recognize their own traits in Lilith and suddenly decide those traits look much uglier on someone else. Why? When I do it, there's a reason. When Lilith does it, it's a character flaw. Lilith becomes the convenient villain for qualities the ascendant hasn't fully accepted within themselves. Lilith conjunct the descendant. This one gets complicated because the descendant person may be attracted to exactly what they resent about Lilith. Lilith embodies qualities they unconsciously seek through relationships but don't completely understand within themselves. So attraction can become rejection, fascination becomes criticism, and the descendant person may insist Lilith pursued them while conveniently ignoring their own attraction. Lilith conjunct Sun. The Sun person may feel entitled to prioritize themselves, their ambitions, ego, independence, or success. But when Lilith does the same, suddenly she's selfish, arrogant, too ambitious, too focused. The Sun gets to shine, Lilith gets accused of taking up too much space. Lilith conjunct Moon. The Moon person may expect Lilith to emotionally respond according to their definition of caring. If Lilith doesn't react enough, comfort enough, cry enough, or emotionally perform enough, something must be wrong with them. Ironically, the Moon person may conceal their own feelings while condemning Lilith for doing exactly that. The shadow here can become emotional manipulation, guilt, gossip, and attempts to make Lilith feel defective for not responding emotionally on command. Lilith conjunct Mercury. Mercury gets to speak. Lilith gets accused of having a mouth. The Mercury person may justify their own harsh words, opinions, questions, or criticisms while interpreting Lilith's words as intentionally cruel, inappropriate, offensive, or unnecessary. The disagreement stops being about what was said and becomes about who was allowed to say it. Lilith conjunct Venus. Venus can want beauty, money, comfort, relationships, nice things, benefits. But when Lilith openly wants those same things, suddenly he or she is a gold digger, superficial, or a user. Venus may recognize its own self-interest in Lilith while judging Lilith for being considerably less ashamed of it. Lilith conjunct Mars. Mars gets to assert itself. Lilith gets called aggressive. Mars gets angry. Lilith has an anger problem. Mars pursues sex. Lilith becomes promiscuous. Mars prioritizes itself. Lilith becomes selfish. Same instinct, different moral judgment. And that's precisely why this conjunction can become explosive. Lilith conjunct Jupiter. Jupiter believes, Lilith believes differently, and apparently civilization must now collapse. The Jupiter person may consider their worldview moral, enlightened, or correct while treating Lilith's opposing beliefs as evidence that something is fundamentally wrong with them. Lilith becomes the heretic simply for refusing Jupiter's version of the truth. Lilith conjunct Pluto. This one's different. Lilith and Pluto recognize something familiar in each other. Both can attract obsession, fear, projection, taboo, suspicion, and fascination from others. Initially, the similarity may create resistance. Eventually, it can create recognition. Pluto may be one of the few energies capable of looking at Lilith's darkness without immediately demanding that it become light. But is Lilith really dark? Lilith conjunct Neptune. Neptune can create an entire imaginary version of Lilith and then become angry when the real person doesn't cooperate with the script. Their disappointment becomes Lilith's fault. Their fantasy failed, Lilith ruined it. Their expectations were unrealistic, Lilith deceived them. This conjunction can produce extreme projection because Neptune may respond less to who Lilith actually is and more to what they imagine Lilith represents. Lilith conjunct Uranus. Uranus disrupts something and calls it progress. Lilith disrupts something and gets called destructive. Uranus breaks convention because the system needed changing. Lilith breaks convention because apparently she woke up and chose societal collapse. Both can destabilize existing structures. The double standard lies in whose disruption gets assigned as noble motive. Best example for this is Uranus. The Uranus person can, be a homewrecker, but instead of being viewed as a homewrecker, the Uranus person will believe that they were saving somebody from an unhappy relationship. However, if Lilith came through, Lilith would be considered a homewrecker because she came in, or he came in and ruined a relationship with a marriage with someone they were happy with. A happy home. Lilith came in and it destroyed a happy home. You see the difference? Lilith conjunct Saturn. Saturn's rigidity becomes discipline. Lilith's rigidity becomes stubbornness. Saturn's emotional restraint becomes maturity. Lilith becomes coldness. Saturn's standards become principles. Lilith become unreasonable demands. Saturn may believe its structures are justified while treating Lilith's refusal to bend as a defect requiring correction. Lilith conjunct Chiron. This conjunction can expose an ugly hierarchy surrounding whose pain deserves compassion. Chiron's wounds may become explanations for destructive behavior. I've been hurt. Lilith's wounds, get over it. Chiron may expect understanding for how suffering changed them while refusing Lilith that same grace. At its darkest, Chiron becomes the acceptable victim while Lilith becomes the unbelievable one. And that may be one of the cruelest Lilith experiences. Not merely being hurt, but being told the hurt that changed you never happened. The pattern with all Lilith conjunctions is basically when this energy belongs to me, there's context. When it belongs to you, there's something wrong with you. And Lilith's lesson isn't necessarily proving otherwise. It's recognizing the double standard without spending your entire life trying to obtain an acquittal from people who already appointed themselves judges. This is an excerpt from my upcoming work, Decoding Lilith, Projection, Defiance, and the Power of Being Misunderstood. In the meantime, if you want to learn more about Synastry, you can read my book, The Synastry Code, Decoding Love and Compatibility, that is available now on Amazon.